I am so glad you can join me today. It is Miss Debbie's birthday, and so today we're going to do a little baking, and we're going to make one of my favorite treats from when I was a little girl that my grandmother used to make for me on my birthday. And this is so simple, so everybody can help. Your moms and dads, grandmas and grandpas, whoever you're baking with today, you can help them do this because it's so easy. And if you watch my video of the day, you know there's only 4 ingredients in this recipe, which makes it even simpler. So let me go over our ingredients again. Before we get started, again, you're gonna need a can of cherry pie filling, a can of crushed pineapples, a box of yellow cake mix, and a stick and a half of butter, okay? A stick and a half. Not a cup and a half, instead we made a mistake the other day, stick and a half. So before we do any baking, before we touch any food, there's always one thing we always do, and that is wash our hands. So I'll be right back. I'm gonna go wash my hands and then we'll get started. Okay, so now that you all have clean hands, we can start our baking. And the first thing we're gonna have to do is we're going to have to get the lids off of our cans. And that is something a grown-up has to do because that can sometimes be a little sharp. So have your grown-up take your lid with a can opener off your cherry pie filling. And the pineapple one isn't so hard because it's got a little pull tab here. So I'm gonna go ahead and take that off. Again, this is something the grown-ups gotta do. Okay, because this can be a little sharp and you do not want to touch that. You don't want to get cut. But best part is the next step you can do all by yourself. So we're going to get our cans ready, and you're going to need a 9x13 baking dish. Just realized I think I want to put a little spray in mine just so it doesn't stick, although you don't have to do this, but just to make sure. So first step, very simple. Now, I've seen you guys play with sand on the playground, so dumping is something I know you're all really good at. So the first step is to take your can and you're just gonna dump it into your pan here, into your baking dish. Hear the beep? That means my oven's ready. I preheated it. Anyway, so you're gonna dump this into your baking dish and you're just gonna get a big spoon and you're just gonna spread it around. It's really that simple. The next thing we're gonna do is we're going to get our cherry filling, and you're gonna dump this in and you're gonna spread it around on top of your pineapple. All right? So I'm just gonna kind of, ooh, get a little doopy, huh? Oh, I love cherries. I love cherry pies. So I'm just gonna get, and if anything that's left in there, it's pretty good though. I think that's empty. All right, so now I'm gonna spread that around. If it mixes with your pineapple, that's okay. Go ahead and get your cherries all kind of spread out so it's even, and get it all around. I have to say I do think the cherries are my favorite part of this because I really love cherries and I love cherry pie. Okay, so that's pretty good. We got it all around, just kind of spread out there. Next step, get your cake mix. Again, get a grown-up to help you with this step. Take your cake mix out. I like to shake it down so that way when I cut it, it doesn't go all over the place. And mom and dad get scissors because you're gonna need big ones for these. I'm just gonna cut the top off. And now you can help with this step. Oh, don't get the paper in your baking dish. That's not good. Cake mix. All you gotta do, shake it all over the top. Now you could put it in another container. You can use a spoon, or Miss Debbie's just gonna shake it like this. This might get a little messy on your counter, and that's okay. Go ahead and kind of shake it all over. It's kind of even out. If you need to use a spoon to spread it out, that's fine. It's okay if you get a little cherry on there. I got a little cherry on there. Let's say I want to spread it out. Looks good. Now, the last step is we're going to take our butter, stick it in half, and this step you may need a grown-up to help you with. But it's pretty, if your butter's kind of soft, then you can probably do it with a plastic knife. Nothing sharp, but you're just gonna cut the butter into little pieces, see, like this. And just go ahead and cut it all up. When I do it, I like to kind of keep the paper on. That way when I'm cutting it, I don't get butter on my fingers. But once you cut it all up, the next step is really, really simple. You can get a fork if you want, but you're gonna take all these little pieces of butter and you're just gonna lay them all over the top of your cake mix. And that's actually it. That's the whole recipe. That's all you have to do. So I've got all my butter all cut up. So what I'm gonna do is, I think I'll get a little fork, that way I don't have to touch with my fingers. And I will go ahead and just lay these on the top. You can use a spoon, just kind of put them all over the top of your pie mix. There's no wrong way to do this, just get it on there, just kind of get them to go all over. And then once you get all of these on here, you're actually ready to bake it, because that's all the steps. But my butter's sticking a little. I'm gonna get that off. All right, so once I get all this butter on, I'm gonna put it in the oven at 350 degrees. And again, it's something Mom and Dad will do. They'll set the temperature on the oven, because this has to bake. And when it's baking, this is actually chemistry, because the butter is going to melt from the heat and it's going to mix with the the cake mix and the pie filling underneath, the cherry pie filling and the pineapples. And when it's all done, it almost makes like a crumble, which is really, really delicious. And if you don't like cherries, let's say you like apples or peaches, you can always substitute the fruits that we put in this for things that you like. But it really is this simple. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and do this and get this into the oven, and I'll be right back. Okay, so now the butter is in our baking dish and it is ready to go. So again, how many ingredients did we use in this? 1, 2, 3, 4. Only 4 ingredients. I'm gonna put it in the oven and I'm gonna set my timer for 50 minutes. 5, 0. Mom and Dad, 50 minutes. I'll be back in 50 minutes, and when I'll take it out, we'll see how it came out. All right, I'll see you in a little bit. Okay friends, our timer is almost up and it's almost ready to get out of the oven. It's gonna be very hot, so grown up will get it out of the oven for you. Make sure you've got oven mitts, because again, you don't want to burn yourself. And while I'm waiting for the timer to go off, I just want to show you a picture. I told you before, this is a recipe my Grammy used to make for me, and today's actually a very special day, because today is actually my Grammy's homecoming day. And this is a picture of Miss Debbie, and there's my Grammy, and that's my Aunt Ginny. And we used to have a lot of fun together. This is us. We were traveling in England and Scotland for 2 weeks back when I was in my 20s. I was younger, and we had so much fun on this trip. So I just thought I'd show you a picture of my Grammy, because this dump cake is in honor of her. So let's see if it's ready. Let's get this out of the oven. Oh, that smells so good. All right, don't touch it. It's super hot. Now, as much as I would like to eat this right now, I have to wait for it to cool down. And I promised my family I will wait for them to come over for dinner tonight. So we're gonna celebrate my birthday. I might just wanna have just a teeny tiny bit in the corner here. Let's see. Oh, it looks so good. All right. I don't want to burn myself, but oh my gosh, I love this recipe. It is so simple and so easy. After it sits, it's gonna get real crunchy on top. This is really good with vanilla ice cream, if you like vanilla ice cream. And that's it. That's our whole recipe. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you guys have a great, great weekend, and I will see you next week when we are gonna do a little video on how to make oobleck, and I'm gonna give you some really good tips. All right, friends, bye-bye.